What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of Joe and Matty Talk New York Sports. Big week.
See, yeah, it seems like we're a jinx since we started this. All the teams just keep losing, except for
Yeah.
the Yankees. The Yankees turned it
Yeah.
around, had a decent week. So maybe we
About
start with the
time.
Yankees. Yeah,
Yeah, they're slowly in a week they've brought themselves back into the question. I don't think they'll be sellers anymore. I think it was more just a month long kind of
yeah. This is
drought.
fun. Funny how these conversations go week to week. Panic.
I mean we
Uh,
do say that. I like a question I wrote to start. Are the Yankees back? I think yes, but I'm not gonna base it off them going 5-1 in 6 games like against the Blue Jays and the A's. But the A's series was pretty good because the A's are a really good team, and
yeah, first place team.
I think they should have swept them, but I'll take the 2 wins.
Yeah,
Um, but the Rays and the Red Sox have been dumping the bed, and now the Yankees are 4.5 out of first place. The Rays have lost 6 straight, and Glass now's injured for who knows how long. And the Red Sox are just lost 2 out of 3 against the Royals, and the Yankees have a 3-game set at home against the Royals with Cole
I'll be
taking
trying to go Wednesday night. It might rain Tuesday, so we might try to go Wednesday.
yeah, definitely. But they need to win that series, 2 out of 3
Yeah,
at least,
yeah, you want to sweep from the Yankees right there to get out of the gates
Yeah.
because if this level team, that's what you're expecting. 3 triple plays. Well, how about that? I've never seen a game end on a triple play. Like as a Yankee fan for so long, I don't even remember that many triple plays. And then apparently it's the third one in 31 days, and they're only the 12th club in history to have 3 triple plays in an entire season. They're not even at the break yet, so
They
it's a
well,
wacky
they,
year.
they've had 3 triple plays in a month. The Diamondbacks have had 2 wins in a month.
Oh,
So
that's
and
disaster. I'm not a fan of the Diamondbacks in those purple snake uniforms. So they bad memories of the Yankees World Series and Luis Gonzalez. That was terrible. But on the positive things, Sanchez is hitting again. Apparently, he listened to his hitting coach and said, "Stop lifting up your front foot to get your timing down." And he's hitting. That would be a terrific step if he's gone.
100%.
On the good news again. You got Voit scheduled to come back, as I saw Gittins got sent down, so I assume
I feel
Voigt's going to
bad
be
for
in the
the kid.
lineup. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's expectations he's going to be there a long time. You always knew that Voit was going to go back to first base, and you have DJ as a backup. Mike Ford got shipped out of town.
Good
Tampa.
move.
So but he'll probably hit 300 for Tampa and scorch the Yankees in a key hit. But
Well, the
things are
Yankees,
looking good on the Yankee
yeah.
front. The pitching, and you said this before the scandal. I'm nervous about Cole. I'm nervous about a lot of these pitchers not being worth what they were signed for
Well, I
without
mean,
the sticky stuff.
I watched the first couple innings of the Mets game, which would mean that Jacob deGrom was the first pitcher to be felt up by the umpires or checked. But
It's a funny way of putting it. Yes.
it was very simple that he kind of made like a joke out of it. Like they just took off his hat, they looked at his hands, they opened the flap of his belt and looked at his glove. And I mean, I'm more worried for Cole to go to Boston and pitch there than him getting checked by the umpires because I don't know what that crowd's gonna how they'll be to him.
You should embrace those things. Screw Boston fans. You want to go there. You want to be booed. Everywhere you leave your town, it's an
Like
honor.
A-Rod? Like A-Rod?
Yeah, but A-Rod, no one's fans of because he was a notorious cheater. And, that's A-Rod's not booed.
Definitely.
Normally, you're getting booed because you're doing something really good. If you just
Yeah.
stink and nobody cares, that's a bad sign. If you're a Yankee, you want to go to Boston and have the entire crowd want to boo you. That's a challenge, but I'm nervous. Overreaction. Do they go too far where they didn't let these pitchers have some sort of tack on their fingers? So when the weather, it's going to get hot and sweaty now, so maybe that's different. But if they don't, as the season goes on, if they can't grip the baseball, someone going to get hit in the head. It's like the control going to be gone. Like these guys who are used to it and now not used to it. It's kind of a weird thing to do mid-season. Obviously, it was really bad, but I feel like they should have come forward and said, look, we know this is going on. This is approved tack that you could use, not spider tack, which is like magic stuff. Maybe it's a little rosin, maybe it's a little pine tar, something that baseball players have been accepted using for a while just to get the grip. But obviously the spin rates were through the roof, so that makes me nervous. But all in all, Yankees.
We're gonna be learning a lot. I mean,
next month is going to be interesting. DeGrom, I don't think should be pitching right now. I think that's a huge mistake for the Mets.
How did you see?
You leave a game twice with an elbow injury, and you're the franchise player. Take a week. Give him a week off.
I can tell you one thing. He's definitely not cheating because that guy was dominant through the first 3 innings. Gave no hits. He walked the pitcher. He had 5 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. He was nasty pitching a 1-on-1.
The talk shows in New York are all talking about how DeGrom seems different this year. He wants to win that Cy Young again, and he wants to be like a Hall of Famer where no one even questions it. Like, he is a dominant force. He wins the Cy again this year, and he'll go down as like one of the best pitchers ever. And I think that's why he doesn't want to be out of the lineup. He needs the starts. He's got a team that is winning for him, which he hasn't had for a while. So, he's a guy I think you root for. I'm not a Mets fan. We both have family members who are Mets fans, but DeGrom's just a guy that no matter whose team he's on, barring the Red Sox, you would want to root for him. He seems like a solid guy and a straight up pitcher, and he does everything else. He'll even hit for you.
I mean, it's just he animal this year, and I thought it was I thought it was cheating when officially we look like we're scandal, but you look at everything he's doing, and now he's being checked by the umpires every inning, so he's not cheating unless he's putting it like in his pants or something. Like,
I mean, there'll be someone who gets caught for sure trying. But let me ask you this: what do you think happens with Trevor Bauer?
His numbers are going to drop. The same with Cole.
Significantly, or do you think he's still going to be an all-star pitcher, just not the knockdown elite level?
It will be significantly, but they'll both still be all-star pitchers. Because I was watching the Michael Kay show, and Jeff Passan was one of the callers, and Michael Kay was like, "Is Garrett Cole worth the contract?" And he said, "I think he is. I think he's still great pitches and good execution. He just doesn't have his extra advantage."
I hope he's right. I really do, because that's going to be a big thing for the Yankees going forward, because they always needed that ace that they didn't have.
I'm not worried against the Royals. I'm not worried about
that. I'm not worried in the short term, but I'm worried about that very long contract that we were all excited to land the man and have the guy for a while. And if all of a sudden he's just like, he's good.
Yeah. I would think about it though. We won't really be missing out because almost most teams will be getting that. I mean, maybe except DeGrom, who's really just the outlier.
Who's going to be due for a contract upgrade soon?
How much you said? I would, if I'm the Mets, let me look up his age first. I don't know how old he is.
He's older than you think because he had a lot of crazy arbitration years, DeGrom. But he kind of missed out a lot on a huge payday.
33 years old. I'm going to go ahead right now. If I'm the Mets, I give him 5 years, $400 million.
Oh, wow. Just spending these money.
I'll tell you, those 5 years, I would guarantee at least 3 Cy Young if he stays pitching the same way.
I think that's a
$300
million. But is someone else going to pay that money? That's really the thing,
I mean, if they don't want him to go somewhere, they're going to have to at least.
I don't worry about the Mets, but my question is, what other team's going to put that cash out there right now?
At least $300 million for 5 years.
He's going to want Cole's level of pay for sure.
He'll get paid more.
The years is the interesting thing. The agent's going to try to stretch this out for as many years.
I would do minimum of 4. If I was a team, maximum of 6. I would not go to 40. I would do maximum of 5. I wouldn't give him more than that. I would do 4. 4 would be it. 4 years, $300 million, which is still pretty big because Cole's like what, 9 and 324.
324 was the number. I'm not sure on the years, but yeah, you're right.
I think it's either 7 or 9. But I mean, the Mets have slowed down a tiny bit, but
I mean, that's to be expected. Like every team, it's a 162 game season. the weather just turned nasty hot in New York. It's
The
disgusting out
division's
here.
terrible too, and they're still 4
Which is
games
so
out.
shocking. Like this division's not talent-wise not that bad. Whoever did the preseason, I'm glad we didn't have a preseason show where we were picking the teams, because there's some teams like the Minnesota Twins who were supposed to be good and they're
I thought
terrible.
they're gonna win. I thought they're gonna
Yeah.
beat the White Sox.
If you would have talked to me about the Mets and the NL East, Nationals dominant, Braves dominant. These are Phillies spent a fortune. They're not even. Are they still 500? Lingering around 500, but not impressive.
Yeah, they're 500. Yeah, they're 500, 34 and 34.
Yeah, that's what none of these. But you know what is? As we said each week, baseball is a long, long way to go. One team catches fire the way the Rays were hot early, and it's all different. So
it can change in a heartbeat.
A lot to look forward. Let's move over. What do you want to talk next? The disappointment of the local Nets team, or do you want to talk
definitely? Let's start the Nets. I'm gonna do a rant and then I'm gonna ask you a question. I mean, they just have been eliminated in 7 games by the Bucks. Bucks now will face the Hawks in the conference finals, which is shocking.
And I see you wearing the Trae Young haircut to tribute the Atlanta Hawks. Oh, he is turning into number one enemy, man. He knows how to fire up an enemy crowd.
They were throwing beer cans at him.
It's Philadelphia. Come on. Philadelphia is in big trouble. I mean, their coach comes out, talks trash about a player who they are going to pay over $100 million over the next 4 years. I forget what his salary is. Mm-hmm. We do not want Ben Simmons. We do not want. He could not survive in New York at all. He would be a total bust. Guys who cannot take fourth quarter shots. At least Randall was taking the shots. He just wasn't hitting them. Yeah. But Simmons was just Simmons was avoiding the whole scenario. But back to the Nets. I'm super happy they lost, because whenever you have these teams that everyone was like, hey, it's over, they're going to win. And I thought it's over, they're going to win. And then the injury derails them. And you look back and you go, well, they took on a bunch of injured players. So
I was disappointed. I'll tell you why. Because not a Nets fan, but I don't like the Bucks and I don't like the Hawks. And now the Hawks have a chance to make it to the final. I think they will beat the Bucks. If they can beat the Knicks, well,
I think the Bucks are going to win it.
But if they can beat the Sixers, they can beat the Bucks.
But Sixers didn't play so great. I mean, the Knicks missed a lot. Knicks missed a lot of baskets and had a good chance to beat the Hawks. I think it's funny, every year everyone's like, oh, it's always the Lakers. It's the same teams all the time. This year, Now you've got 4 random teams, and I bet the ratings are going to be an all-time dud. No one's going to care. Sorry, Milwaukee. Sorry, Atlanta. The LA Clippers are obviously the Nets of LA. They're the second child. There's Knicks fans blow away that. The Clippers, I
want them to win. That's a team I want to win.
That's because you've never been to Los Angeles. You don't want.
No, because I hate the Lakers, and I want LeBron to be like. I want them to have to feel pressure from the Clippers.
I mean, their win was the most shocking to me, to be honest with you.
I definitely do not want the Suns win. 100%. I definitely do not. I hate Devin Booker.
And I feel like I watched 2 Suns games the entire season. That team does nothing to me. I remember wanting Ayton I was wanting Ayton in the draft, but no interest in the Suns. Atlanta, they have a lot of players that I've grown to dislike, but they provide excitement. They're almost like the Globetrotters with the alley-oops and the dunks and the threes from half court. I don't know. I'm rooting. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win it all. I think the Milwaukee Bucks had a lot of stress on their shoulders from previous implosions over the last couple of years. The coach was under heat. Their players were under heat for not getting to the next level. This was the signature win. Even though the Nets were a wounded team, it was something that I think was in their mind. And now I think they're going to get over that hump and play the way they've played in the regular season. And your poor brother, as I watched him just die during that Nets game, Middleton, the guy's just hitting shot after shot, clutch shot after clutch shot. It was really impressive.
Was he throwing stuff?
And not my house better not be throwing stuff. He
would be throwing stuff here.
A bit of a tantrum. There was a little bit of a pouting, and it was me sitting in the corner, kind of chuckling to myself. Exciting basketball. It was good stuff to watch.
You should have seen when the Giants lost in the wild card to the Packers. Oh God, I was over in the corner crying into a pillow. I was, but with what I've realized as you get older, it's anger. And he threw his phone. We were like losing it.
Well, I think you go through phases in your life. You're at the phase where that's true anger and it means something. Caroline, the Bears lose. Now it just all comes in stride. It just hurts.
Well, I think, not to insult me, Mikey, or Caroline, but I think you have that composure because I feel like I don't know why. Maybe because you've seen like a lot. You've watched much more, like, well, maybe not more than Caroline. But you've seen a lot of sports.
I've watched a lot more sports than all three of you combined. That's for sure.
Yeah,
because I'm a lot older.
I think we I definitely lose composure. I don't know with Caroline. I know you say she gets very mad when the Bears lose,
man, it's not a pretty picture, especially if it's the Packers. But for me, this is pathetic because we're now in 2021. But like the whole '90s was it. The Rangers and the Knicks, the same thing. Like I feel like that never could be replicated.
Well, it's different. I feel like it's different with the Rangers when they lost in that dumb whatever it was called, whatever you call it. I don't even like hearing the name of it. When they played the Canes, it took me about like 2 days to regroup. Then they won the lottery, and I was kind of like next year.
Yeah, like that was a nice bonus. The Rangers are the ones that hurt. Those playoffs seem to hurt really bad. The Yankees. I don't know. The Yankees seem to have.
It takes at least 3 weeks for me to regroup from a Yankees playoff loss when they lost.
But I feel like there's been a lot lately where it's like my expectations to win when I was your age, I thought all my teams are winning all the time.
Every single
at my age, I'm like, I want the Giants to make the playoffs. I want them to win the Super Bowl, but my expectations are they're not. I think you get a little more realistic where it's less like, in the heat of the game, you get into it. But nowadays, it's like, I didn't expect the Rangers to go very far. I was really happy the Knicks made it to the playoffs. So,
it's so
the loss hurt, but it's much easier to turn around and go, oh, I get it. They lost.
It was just with the Yankees. It's now like after 2017, the expectation was so high. I can tell you, I went
every year the Yankees. Every year, pretty much since the '90s. The expectation is that they're going to win the World Series or they're going to be one of the top 5 teams to do it.
And I still run through it over my head. 2019 would have been the perfect year for the Yankees to win the World Series because they hadn't won it in 10 years. They won the division. They had home field advantage. They beat the Astros in Game 1. They had LeMahieu clutch. Everything was working except the starting pitching. Everything like that. I remember sitting there after Game 1, and I was like, I looked over at my dad. I was like, this is the year. Like it's happening. Like I can sense it. I feel it. And then the Astros just have to cheat us out of the World Series. They don't even win.
That hurts. I mean,
they don't even win it.
Flying to see the Giants Super Bowl against the Ravens was one of my all-time lows because you got there and Baltimore was a new team and they had billboards up. It's like all these people dressed like Ravens. Like you've been a fan for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then Jason Sehorn's pants fall off. He gets beat for a touchdown. They get a bad holding call and that whole game fell apart. All my buddies are it was terrible. And all my friends are celebrating and we're sitting in the season ticket holders section of the Giant Stadium just miserable. And they're like, oh, Britney Spears is singing at halftime. Let's go. It was the worst.
Focus.
I mean, the Super Bowl was in Tampa and we stayed in Orlando. So we had to get this long drive after the game. It was miserable.
Well, I don't know how it is. Like I kind of usually I set up it's almost like a routine for me. Like I'm literally in Game 1 of the Yankees and Astros 2019 ALCS. I got so paranoid in a role that after every pitch, I would either wear a glove, walk up to a certain design,
and that's Caroline. Stand over there, sit over there. You have to remember, none of that stuff makes any difference. And if you can't put it through your head, just think there is hundreds of thousands of fans like you doing the
Oh,
same thing in their house. And if you think you're all
it's
synced together with the
so-
same superstitions, you're crazy.
it got
You know, your
it was
grandmother does the same thing. She
it
used
was
to
this
walk out of the room. She missed 50% of the Giants games because she's like, it's better luck if I'm standing in this hallway. Like, you
yeah.
can't. The whole point is to watch the game.
Yeah, well, like it got to a point where like I would see a different design on the carpet. There was like two, like it was like in like an oval shape. Both my feet, you know, when you're walking on a carpet. Not saying that it's like cold, but it got to the point where I would get my feet over there, and it was so warm because I'd been standing there. I would go back. I would pace back and
Don't
forth.
let it happen because it only gets worse. You got to
Oh,
break those habits now. They mean nothing. It's all math. It's all science. You being in one spot doesn't make a difference. The
you
pitcher
should
has
just.
no idea. The hitter has no idea. The guy on the ice is going.
I
Speaking
can't.
of ice,
Yeah, let's
what
get
about
off this
Ryan
topic.
Ryan McDonough getting stoned on? I mean, that's one of the best plays in hockey playoffs we've seen in a long time.
You
I
know
mean,
what?
McDonough's move was incredible, and then the guy just I'm forgetting his name right now, jumping in front and making the save to win the game. Oh man, Matt Martin
Oh yeah,
scoring.
dude.
Matt Martin
Pulak,
scoring the
yeah.
yeah, Pulak making that play. Matt Martin scoring a winning goal when his brother-in-law is getting married the same night. Like the craziness of that whole night is wild.
I hate the Islanders. They're the only New York
Yeah.
team I hate. It was a glory watching them beat Tampa Bay. I hate Tampa Bay. They have.
You know how I feel about Florida hockey.
I hate the Islanders more. But the thing is here, I rather see the Islanders lose in the final than Tampa lose in the final. And I don't think the Islanders will win in the final. I just have a feeling. Maybe it's biased, but say what you want to say.
I don't know. Every time Lou Lamoriello seems to find the right guys at the right time and it seems to make a difference. Believe me, I do not want them to win the cup. I'd rather Tampa in the finals than the Islanders, but I do enjoy
they'll win though. They'll win it. That's the problem. They'll win if they're in the final.
But aren't you proud of the New York crowds? Like the Coliseum is making other crowds look embarrassing. And the Garden makes other crowds look embarrassing.
That arena is a dump, but it is loud.
Oh, it's on its way out.
I know why they call it the barn. Like literally, it's so low to the ground that it's like
it's a dump.
It's just so like, you know what? Their new arena looks nice, but I can tell you they'll. I don't know if they'll get the same noise. Like it'll be loud.
Nowadays they design these arenas to be loud, like the Seahawks do. Sorry, I'm just grabbing Marshall because he's being a royal pain in the butt on this podcast by wanting to cry and leave. I know you're not a Yankee fan.
I can't wait to see because you see like the Knicks fans after years of disappointment not being in the playoffs. I can't wait to see the Rangers. And I'll tell you why, because they had all those years. Like I'll go back, I watched the clips. I watched the clips of them making it to the playoffs from like 2010 to 2017. I think they missed it 1 year in the span of that time. But you just look in the crowd, like I went back, I watched the 2017. The crowd was like, you could playoffs, but they weren't like you feel like it was a bunch of people who just came from work, not like a lot of diehard fans.
The New York the Madison Square Garden crowd went through a huge transition. When I grew up, and Pop would take me to games, there'd be people like throwing beers and at the things, and it would get out of control, and they were rowdy. You had the blue seat fans. Then it went really corporate because the tickets got so expensive. And I remember sitting at a game with my buddy Stan, and the guy in front of us goes, "Hey, who's this number 99? He's really good." It was freaking Wayne Gretzky. And I was like, well, what are you doing here? Like this is a playoff game. You need to leave immediately. And like we almost got ejected for screaming at like, what are you doing here in these seats? Like we spent the fortune of our work money getting those seats, and this clown is sitting there. But
that's what I feel like it's
the playoffs. No, when they get back, the Rangers will bring that crowd. It's just when there's low optimism, it's not going to break. Like even LeBron commented on the Knicks crowd. Like it gets crazy in there. It is awesome.
The Knicks crowd. I feel hopefully the Rangers crowd turns from, like you said, corporate to celebrity. Like I don't like
they Knicks, will. Believe me, everyone will jump on the bandwagon with the Rangers.
I tell you, the Yankees, will be different. Though, that's where maybe baseball is different because it doesn't appeal to it's not one of the like much more popular sports like football or basketball.
Well, it's a
But
local sport.
I love watching those like Yankee home runs in the playoffs from the bleachers where
Oh,
those seats are like they squeeze people in there. You see beers, popcorn, like
oh,
launched in the air. It's like
you have no idea. And like the
it's
old
awesome.
stadium used to sway. Like when it was rocking, you should read like David Cohn talks about when Don Mattingly hit a home run in the playoffs and just
Johnny
stadium,
baseball.
the stadium just rocked. Like almost a little scary where you were nervous that the whole upper deck was coming down. But it just the energy and that old stadium just seemed louder for some reason. I don't know if that's a fact or that's just the memories of my
It's more
childhood, but
compact. If you, I
yeah.
think it's more compact. Like
We'll see. There's nothing
it was
like the
bigger.
garden, the way the garden is lit and the fans are in the. It's just there's nothing like it. But what we were supposed to be talking about hockey. Give me your predictions because you're the hockey expert on how these series are going to end.
We'll give a rewind. I'll say what I think, and then let you share your thoughts on each series. Let's start. Well, your team Vegas. Them and Montreal are tied at 2 games apiece, heading
Go
into Vegas for
Canadians,
Game
right,
5.
Marshall?
I think I'll give the worries for each team. Worry for Vegas is that I feel like they need when they start scoring. Maybe this goes to everyone, but when they score first and their defense is on, they look unstoppable. And Fleury and Leonard, doesn't matter who you put in the net. But I think what Montreal kind of snuck up on them in Game 2 and basically stole Game 3, but then they blow Game 4. I think Vegas is going to win just because of the home ice advantage. I think Montreal, if as much as they could push regulations or not, try to get as many vaccinated people in. I dying to see that crowd loud.
Yeah, it's a major disappointment that
3,500 can't
they
get
can't get it together. Speaking of vaccination rates, your states and Mikey's states are doing the worst. They're going to have problems
we're
too.
low.
Yeah, you got to get that moving, but that's
another
topic for another show that we don't need to hear.
Well,
but I, I'm all about Montreal. I hope Vegas and their cheese bag fans are gone.
Who do you think will win, though?
I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights are a better hockey team.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to win. It's disappointing. Marshall took the headphones with him. Thank you for your special guest appearance, Marshall.
I think then look at the Lightning and the Islanders tied at 2 games apiece, heading into Game 5 in Tampa tonight at 8. The Islanders are
Give me a score.
Road team. The Islanders are a great road team. When they score first, they're winning on the road. I think the Islanders are going to win tonight. I think they win in 6. I think they lose in the final. It doesn't matter who they place; they'll lose in the final. I don't know why, but they'll lose in the final.
Yeah, I think your team that I'm starting to question whether you love them on the side. The Vegas Knights are going to win it all, but I hope to see Montreal play Tampa in the finals, and I hope Montreal wins it. Beautiful city, Montreal. Great fans. Canada deserves a cup. Las Vegas and Florida does not deserve cups.
It's a lot of like mixed baskets here because as much as we hate the Islanders fans, they're just like Boston fans. Like they're committed, like Montreal. So like
don't connect it to Boston. At least Islander fans are still from New York.
But then you look at Vegas and Tampa, and you're like, "What is this?" Like, you go to a Tampa playoff game, and they're using like rockers. It's like, where are the playoff towels? Like, what's going on here?
It's an amusement park. That's why. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I'd say it's even more of a joke than Vegas. I'll tell you what the problem with Vegas, and you could see it with Carolina with this BS like thunder clap after games. Like, you know,
you need gimmicks to get people involved,
like the Rangers do. Salute the fans. Off the ice, like it's over. Like we don't need some rallying cries. It's not baseball, it's hockey. And
they need gimmicks. If you're a small market team, you need gimmicks.
Vegas with this like dumb sword at like the beginning, and then like the guys like glow ups like banging on the like that's what's ridiculous about it. That they have a castle in the stadium or arena. That's what's dumb.
I couldn't agree with you more. Tampa Bay Rays putting a pond in their stadium, a pool in there. Markets
is a dump.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Tropicana Field might be the worst field in like.
I don't think it's a question. I think it's worst in the big pro 4 sports.
100%. It's terrible. They desperately need a new stadium
Well,
badly. Outdoors. It's Florida. Outdoors.
I know, but Florida, have you ever been to Florida in the wrong time of year? It's so hot and humid and it's disgusting. I think they need one of those. It could be an open air stadium, but they also get so many rainstorms that.
Well, you could do you could do like it's so they could be how you use the roof and like look at Texas. They need that roof. Like it is terrible. It's so hot you can honestly cancel a game sometimes.
The question with all these stadiums is though, who's paying for them? You know, me and you are paying for them. The team should have to pay for them.
Yeah,
you know, like the team's value go up not by $100,000 a year. They're going up by hundreds of millions. The values of these teams. You know, franchises that people like Mark Cuban buy franchise. I forget he bought the Mavericks for like $300 million. They're like it's like $2.5 billion they're worth now. You could afford a stadium.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, you look at like how Steinbrenner filled up to his teeth with cash. I mean, he could definitely afford. I mean, the Yankees did, but I like the Yankee Stadium. But I think with the Rays, they could do like I like the little tank with the Rays, but it's just so.
Yeah, I get it, but that shouldn't be in the outfield. And why should the Rays be exposed to home like the actual swimming creature? Should be have baseballs flying on them.
Yeah, like I've seen them get like balls go in the tank. Oh, you look at nail, kill it. Like, but they could do something so perfect. Like I love the palm trees. I like making tropical, like tropical baseball scene. But why does it have to be a dump? Like I don't want to go in there and feel like
this stuff
muggy. Like I feel like that
stuff's expensive, and that's a part. Like I love to travel to other. Yeah, I love to travel to other cities and watch games. I've been to a couple football games in Tampa, but I've never been to a hockey game. I've never been to a Rays game because there's no interest in seeing those arenas, and it completely defeats the purpose of going to the city. Like Milwaukee was an awesome experience. Toronto's a great experience. There's a lot of great stadiums out there. It's a lot of fun, but Tampa, that stadium, there's no interest in going and sitting inside it. It's like sitting in a high school gym.
And their next door neighbor, like I would love to go to the Miami Marlins Stadium. That place looks awesome.
Yeah. No, those cheesy Marlin coming out of the ground to the statue. That place is Cheese City. All the neon colors.
They have a pool in left field. Where, like,
it's just ridiculous. People aren't going there.
That's what the Diamondbacks also have a pool in right center.
The Wrigley Field is great for the history.
Classic,
Camden Yards has held up. Awesome. Still a beautiful classic. I want to go to actually watch the game. So my experience should be how I'm sitting in the seats. One of my friends who lives out in San Fran, he said the Giants seats, he said like they skewed them all towards home plate and it's great, but he goes, everyone in the stands is just on their phones the whole time, which drives me crazy nowadays. But that's enough.
I want to sit in that little porch in right field if I went to
I heard San Diego, Petco Park is the best one.
Oh, that's definitely bucket list.
Looks great on TV, but we'll have to go check that one.
Western Metal Supply Company, the big left building, that looks awesome. I tell you what, San Diego looks so great. If the Yankees don't win the World Series, I hope they do. It's awesome. They're getting the best crowd come out out of any team. Tatis, Machado, everyone. Hosmer's reinvented himself. Their team is so good. I love that they're better than the Dodgers. That's so good.
Yeah, I agree. And that pissed me off about the Chargers. Should have stayed in San Diego.
Yeah, and you look at San Francisco, which also the most shocking thing, San Francisco Giants have the best record in the MLB. I don't know if you knew that, but they have the best record in Major League Baseball. I'm
an East Coast bias guy, Matty. That's why you're the national market. I'm the New York market. Anyway, I could hear that your Hudson is greeting your father. What else do we got to get to? Have we covered everything today, Matty?
Yeah, I have one question about NFC East, just to do a little football thing.
And then football. I love football.
And then we could have
I watched a little Pro Football Focus today on the Giants.
And then I'll ask that, and then we could do like a little open discussion for 5 minutes if you want. But the question is, I'm hearing it a lot. Too much where I need to get have the outlet and hear what someone else thinks that's not on television, who actually knows the team, who or the teams. Who do you think is going to win the NFC East?
The Giants. I think the Giants are going to win it at 10-7. I got to keep remembering that this 17-game season. I think the Redskins are going to be a solid team because I don't think they were super talented last year, but they got a lot of offensive weapons. We've seen Fitzmagic. If you have speed receivers, he could throw the deep ball. He has a tendency. He's going to implode a couple games that cost you. I think the Giants' defense really matches up well with causing them to implode and get the matchup. Giants are loaded at cornerback. They match up with a heavy wide receiver team. Giants also got some big boys up front because I think the Redskins running game is going to be good. Cowboys, not sure how it's going to go. Everything depends on they have their 2 offensive linemen coming back, their quarterback coming back. They're loaded on offense. Like they could score 50 points all day long, but their defense was garbage.
Easily blow it.
But they brought in a solid defensive coordinator with a lot of history. If he could get them up to like mid of the pack defense, the Cowboys are going to be the favorite. I think the Eagles, unless Jalen Hurts shocks the world and comes out of the gate and proves he's a starter in this NFL, I think the Eagles are going to be the doormat. I think they're in bad shape. They don't have the talent.
It's so great.
Yeah. I mean, but you look out there, Giants teams, they're calling it the worst offensive line in the NFL.
Oh my God, that's not true at all.
Well, people are basing it on how they performed last year, not projecting how they will perform this year. So
they have a lot of growing up to do. Lemieux has promised, but I don't think he'll do much. Andrew Thomas should be way better.
I think Andrew Thomas, when Joe Judge changed the coaching staff, made a big uptick in improvement. I also
don't like him, but yeah.
I like having a left tackle, so he's got to be good. I think one of the players that is interesting is Hernandez, because I didn't know that he missed games last year because of COVID. And when he came back, like it was always weird that they were subbing in all the time. Like he was supposed to be, unbelievable out of college. And what I heard I'm pretty sure it's Pro Football Focus, that he had COVID and was just physically not feeling strong for half the year. Like the effects of it lingered. So I'm really hoping he comes back, plays a solid guard position. Gates, the Giants love him. I'm not sure if the rest of the league loves him, but they love him. It was a first year ever at center. He could be great. You have Pert, who the Giants love, and other people are like, how's this guy going to be good? But he's got another year of football on him. They're going to have training camp this year. They have off-season workouts this year. You have Solder coming back, who sucked at left tackle when they played him. It was a terrible contract. He's a solid veteran replacement. There's a lot of chance for improvement, but if they don't improve all those weapons you got, it's kind of a mistake. I'm really excited to see what their defense is. I thought Patrick Graham was genius last year, pulling together a defense. You come from Miami, you come from the Belichick scheme where you lock up man on man on a corner, and then you can do all kinds of tricky things with the other players.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done there.
I mean, I'm excited for the defense, but I'm really much more excited to see what the offense has got in store for us, because I think we don't have to worry as much with the offensive line, because now if you have Barkley healthy and now Jones has actual targets he can throw to, him getting it off quick, like it will be less of a problem, him being pressured, like a little bit.
Yeah, the offensive line just needs to be a little bit better. They don't need to be a top 10 offensive line.
Top 20.
If they're in the middle of the pack, that is enough time and enough holes for stars like Saquon Barkley to break through. I mean, on that podcast I listened today, one of the points that, they talked about roster building, and it's like the Giants roster, you have a guy who could make contested catches in the end zone, which they didn't have. You have a tight end who's a big physical tight end who can make contested catches in the end zone. You have the speed tight end. You have a guy like Tony who's break tackles and take off and run down the field. You have a slot receiver in Sterling Shepard. You have a speed guy in Slayton, and you have a speed guy in Ross. So they have like John Ross. He was a number 1 pick for the Bengals. He flamed out.
Wait, they got John Ross?
Yeah, on a cheap
when did
deal
that happen?
Months ago.
But
he hasn't proven it in the league. He has not been on the field to prove it. So we will see. But they have in a modern day offense, You need to find the matchups that work, and they should be able to find someone each game who works. So it might not be the same person each game, but if that team goes to cover the pass, Saquon Barkley is a pretty good bet on offense.
Mhm.
If they've got lock 'em up corners on the outside, Giants could put 2 guys in the slot or beat you with the tight ends. So they have all the weapons. For me, if the offensive line makes improvement like the Giants believe they will, Giants will win the division. If they don't, they're going to be a middle of the pack team.
They'll definitely make the wild card. This team is their schedule's so easy. Like
it's schedule schmedules that now. Like they always look easy or look impossible, and then all of a sudden you get into the season, it's like, where'd this team come from? Like, like all of a sudden they're great.
One thing, if Daniel Jones can pick up the slack and finally throw the ball and throw touchdowns, the Giants are easily winning the division. And I wouldn't be shocked if they won the Super Bowl.
You've got to stop crushing Daniel Jones. As Pro Football Focus said today, they're like, he was rated better this year than he was last year. It has to do with the players around you.
But
guys drop balls. He gets crushed.
But he still doesn't. He doesn't throw. He doesn't throw enough touchdowns for the Giants to be successful.
Hey, to throw touchdowns, you need to be a second to be back there and throw it. You need guys to catch it. You need guys who could get open, and you need guys to make play. They had think of how many touchdowns Tom Brady gets by throwing a 5-yard pass to some guy like Godwin who just takes off down the field and scores. Marshall, no crap.
Yeah,
he's already upset.
I think with the problem is there. You could say that yes, definitely, but with the Giants, so it's not even like he's like okay, if he threw 15 touchdowns over a 16 game span. Now he did miss 2 games last year. But
look, you can skew stats in. I mean,
think he threw 10. He threw less than 1 a game.
But you're looking at stats that are controlled by your team and not controlled by the quarterback. Yes, you are a big part of that equation. Giants had a horrific offensive line. Sterling Shepard was not impressive last year. It was easy for teams if they wanted to double to cover Slayton, which he doesn't even require a double. Barkley was out of the lineup. He had the shortest time in the league to get the ball out of his hands. So you get a lot of touchdown passes on longer throws. None of that's happened. No one was breaking anything out of the backfield for a long play. Like there's no slants where guys taking it and going. Like, when you throw a pass to Barkley and he'd take it and run. You have those weapons now. Like, we'll see. This is everything for Jones. Either he is the franchise quarterback or he's gone this year. We will know.
It's make or break for him, and it's make or break for Saquon. Because I tell you, if this guy has another year where he just cannot stay healthy, I don't know how much more we can invest in him.
Well, that's the whole point. Is you don't invest in a running back with the first round pick.
It's so
because you could get running backs anywhere.
Yeah, and I think with.
But one injury, you can't. I don't think he's.
Well, yeah, but he has.
I wouldn't pin him as
his rookie year.
Yeah, well, that kind of injury takes you out for more than a season, and you got to remember, your offensive line has to do something for you. You're so hard on their own team; it's ridiculous. Like
no, I'm only hard on them. I'm only hard on them.
I said you're only hard on your own team.
Yeah,
but Barkley, they're gonna even if he has a great year. Are you going to pay him all that money to stay?
No.
Has been paying Ezekiel Elliott been worth it? No. Go through all the big-time running backs in the league, and how many of their second contracts were worth it? Not many. Think of the
Gurley didn't.
Gurley is a 2-time bust. Yeah, the guy from the Chargers that went to Denver, nothing. Running backs have a short shelf life. That is why.
Remember how good everyone thought Melvin Gordon would have been?
Yeah, it's a tough position. You get beat up, and you are dependent on your teammates. So, they should be the highest paid players in the league because they don't have a short lifespan in the league. But anyway,
before we end it, I do want to have a new thing that I did come up with right before we started because it's close to the All-Star break in the MLB, and I voted today 10 times. So
all Yankees?
No, the only Yankees I voted. No. The only Yankees I voted for to be in the All-Star game was DJ LeMahieu at second base, Judge and Wright, Stanton as a designated hitter, and
Stanton
Urshela
doesn't deserve.
Stanton as a DH. Out of the DHs in the league, Stanton's by far the best.
Yeah, but he doesn't play.
Yeah, but there is a DH slot that they have.
I know, but you got to be on the field. I'm a big thing with these all-star things are always celebrity contests, and a big reason is people like us, New York, vote for New York people. We have more people than a lot of other cities, but it should be based on your performance this year, not your career performances. And Stanton's performance this year is not worth it.
You know what though? He has. When he's good, he's just so good. And the thing is,
yeah, he's an MVP.
So many Yankees fans hate him. I don't know if you hate him or not. My dad.
No, I like him. I'm one of the people who think the Yankees fans are way too harsh on him for having one injury year.
Well, no.
Sanchez, I'm not on the same page with. I think Sanchez is really. If he has a hot streak now. Yeah, but I think if he stays on this hot streak, I wouldn't mind trading him at the deadline and taking advantage while you can, because I don't think his career is a long career.
Yeah, well, I think with Stanton, like, he has a timeline. He's like working on. He's like, I'm gonna be out in the outfield for the next interleague series. I'm not sitting on the bench. Like, he seems determined. I like to hear that from him. But
he does all the right things.
One thing that really could get him on the best page with the fans is because we know Judge, like, says no to the home run derby every year because of 1 year. But Stanton, if he goes there to the home run derby, winning it.
Yeah, but it's not good for his career.
But I think
what is you're going to get a bunch of 12-year-old fans excited about a home run derby and possibly blow out your ribs. The winners who have won that, it's never been a good thing.
With Stanton, though, look at what he did, though. He won it in 2016.
But what is winning? Winning does nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Think about it, all it is an injury waiting to happen.
But let me just say, he won the 2016 home run derby. The next year, he was the NL MVP with 59 homers. Ended the year 2016 incredible. I don't know. I think it'd be a good publicity thing for him. I'm so tired of all this. I'm so tired of all this Shohei Ohtani. He's cheating. I'm sick of it. Stop talking about him. Yeah, he's definitely cheating with pitching. You look at his numbers.
It's going the other.
Hitting. He's a great hitter, but he's cheating with the pitching. But
let's look at. You look back at some of the years. Pete Alonso in 2019 didn't finish well. Bryce Harper didn't finish well. Aaron Judge went the wrong direction.
He struck out for in 20 straight games, I think.
Yeah, these are not good. Then you have your boy Stanton. Frazier doesn't matter because we weren't expecting much. Cespedes was hurt perpetually after that. Jose Bautista fell off the face of the earth. Like Cano,
they're all big boys. They're all big boys. That's the problem. I mean,
yeah. So why take that chance? Why would we, as a Yankee fan, want him to take the chance of getting hurt?
That's true.
When he's barely been on the field. There's the PR stunt doesn't.
I don't even want to. I think it'd be good for his morale to be in the outfield. I don't even want to see him in the outfield. Like, no. Like, so you can get injured. We need his back because I'm telling you, the Yankees are so lethal. If you have Judge, because Judge has been up and down. If he can turn it on, which I think he will, he had an RBI single the other day in the second game.
Judge, I think the Yankees stay healthy.
If he's good, and he has been healthy so far, knock on wood, with only day-to-day stuff I care about. Like, unless he
I agree with you. A rest day here and there for a guy who's 7 feet tall is fine.
Yeah, well, I think if Judge can stay steady, bat 280. If he bats 280 or 270, that's great. We love that. He'll hit some homers occasionally against the Orioles in bunches and stuff. But if he's great, and then you have Sanchez playing like this for the rest of the year, and then you have going through hot streaks, and they catch hot in the playoffs. That's a brutal 2-3-4 for a pitcher.
Oh yeah, well everybody looks at that, but you got to go to the playoffs. But you can't go to the playoffs, face a number one starter, and be striking out 3 times.
Well,
that's what's happened the last 5 years. Great regular season.
Lineup, it's so like if this is where this is how Sanchez playing good is awesome, because if the Yankees have, and they faced Sean Manaea on Sunday and they didn't do so well, but they still won, and they faced good pitchers in the A's. But if you have LeMahieu, Judge, Sanchez, Stanton, 1 through 4, those are not 4 easy outs. Now that if Sanchez stays
No,
good.
I agree.
And then
Especially if these pitchers can't spin the ball like crazy.
And that's so good for Torres and Urshela. You saw Urshela had a good
Oh,
series.
Urshela has been good no matter what.
Because Torres and Urshela being 3-4 is not gonna work, and they need to be 5-6. But then you bring Voit back. It's just so many options when they're so healthy.
Yeah, they're a little righty heavy, but
when Urshela good when he's at the bottom of the lineup. I like him.
Urshela, yeah. I mean, he's been great anywhere. He's been. They got him for a bag of peanuts, and he's terrific. Another great move. Voit, bag of peanut.
They don't even. They don't even need to watch him play the rest of the year. Just give him the Gold Glove. He's the best defensive third baseman in the league.
Keep making triple plays, and you'll get a lot more PR. But any last points as we wrap it up, Matty? What do I got to look forward to this week? Just the Yankees, really?
Yeah, we got big stuff for the Yankees. I'm excited to see what goes on in the NBA and the NHL. I don't really know what. That's always fun when you gotta actually watch, and because you don't really know that.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this whole thing is watching the games makes it all worth it.
It's good for the Knicks just that the Hawks are in the. I don't want them to win, but it's good for the Knicks because it shows that the Hawks weren't like a one and done, and that the Knicks.
Oh, look, no one thought the Hawks and the Suns were doing anything this year.
Yeah, and it's good for them, but I think a lot of it's on the Yankees, and I think if they can get hot, it's always good if you get hot going into the All-Star break. That's great. That's in a couple weeks, July 13th, Tuesday, I think. Thursday, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we will see, Manny. We will see. But until next time, I'll see you later, buddy. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
See you. Bye.